Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7, and as you can see I've been doing a fair bit of VR racing this week, and we've had a fair bit of different type of races. We've had a lot of races with stuff like what you're going to see in this race. As we go into the straight here, you're going to see we're going to go side by side and people just not really knowing you're there. You can see this green one on the left, green go-kart just turns over and wipes me and the blue go-kart out. That has been a common occurrence on this week's go-kart race. I've had a fair few races like that where you just get, I don't think it's intentional, I just think it's accidental, but we have had some very good races as well. Now we're going to start this one from the back of the grid. We're going from P9. There is a driver behind us, and I think there's two drivers that got disconnected. You can see there's some drivers there getting a false start still towards the end of the week, but maybe it's their first day on it. But that jumps us straight up to P6. Now one thing about this race is it's absolutely amazing in VR. In VR, this race is automatically bumped up in score. Like I think I gave this 7 out of 10 for normal. In VR, this is 8 out of 10 easily. It's an extra point because it's just so much more fun. It's way more immersive. And I wish that you could see what I see when I'm racing in VR, because this, what you're seeing now, isn't actually what I see. I actually see the wheel rim on the car. I can see further to the right. I can see further to the left. And also, it's super smooth because your eyes are amazing at stabilizing things. So yeah, this isn't the actual footage that I see when I'm in VR. It's much better than this, but you can get a kind of an idea of, you know, being able to look around, and it looks better than this as well. It really is amazing VR on Gran Turismo 7. PSVR 2 is much better than the original in my view, and yeah, it's absolutely amazing when you get some good racing. You can see we're up to P3 already in this race, straight away up through the field, and you're going to see an absolutely savage send by this driver, and then another one just comes flying through on the right, and that took me by surprise, I have to say. When we were in VR, that really jumped me almost. That's the amazing thing about VR, because you don't expect some things, and when you see something, you have a little panic moment, but we managed to avoid that, and we're back down to P4, I think it is now, and we're actually down to P5 as a few other cars have gone around the outside, and I could tell straight away in this lobby, these drivers are into sending it by the looks of it. They want to send it in this go-kart, so we're going to have to be a bit cautious racing against these in this race. So we're going to brake on the outside there, and we have another Spanish driver there going very deep in and running wide and losing a lot of momentum. But now we've got a really good exit from that second to last corner, and we're going to be able to go maybe for a move up the inside here. We're going to get in that slipstream, go to the right hand side of the track and take this nice tight line down to 5th gear, and then just let it rev out with 60-70% throttle, well about 90% throttle probably through there, and then back up to full throttle. It's a shame you can't see the inputs in VR, because obviously it'd be nice to show you what we're doing in some of these situations. As another driver goes for an absolutely savage send there and knocks P1 out the way and promotes myself up into P1. So just avoiding chaos there at the start of this race has pretty much promoted me from P9 to P1 in the matter of a couple of laps. So interesting racing. It's been different types of races all week on this one. I've done quite a few VR races on this. I've had a fair few disconnects as well. I don't know if that's related to VR. I doubt it is. I think it's just a server issue, but I have had a fair few disconnects. But we've had some really good races, and we've had some not so great races, to be honest. As this one, we finished in P1. We managed to build quite a big lead up by the end of that race, so no point focusing on the rest of that one. We won by a considerable margin. I think it was around 7 seconds or 6 seconds, something like that. But we're going to go again. This time we're racing at the front of the grid with more competitive drivers on a different account, and you can see straight away we're away nice and early there. We need to probably put that radar on. Yeah, straight away on the radar. Now one thing about the radar in VR, it's actually a little bit more usable. You can actually see it slightly better because where it's positioned when you're in VR, it's not where it is on the screen now. It's actually a little bit differently placed. It's more in focus and more in view, so it's actually reasonably usable where it is in VR, and it stands out a lot more because there's not much other information on the screen other than that, so you notice it quite well. But we're in the lead here, and we've got a reasonably fast driver behind us in these go-karts that was pushing us here. You can see he's right behind in that slipstream. And now one thing I do recommend, if any of you are racing in go-karts, if you're going to try go-karts out in VR, is make sure you turn ABS off for go-karts. Normally we all run ABS on default for racing, but with go-karts it's better to turn the ABS completely off and put counter steer assist onto strong or weak. It actually makes these go-karts a little bit more enjoyable to drive, to be brutally honest, because they've not got the best physics in the world as standard. However, what I will say, in VR, there's something about these go-karts that make a lot more sense in VR. They feel so much more authentic. they actually feel a little bit more how they should feel, but still not particularly realistic. But they are fun to drive, amazingly fun to drive. You can see there P1 getting ahead of us. We're going to go up the inside side by side with him now, and annoyingly you can't really see that I can see him, because in VR you've got a wider view than what you see on this 2D screen when you're watching it back. So I can actually see him on the outside there, and we're going to have a great little battle with this guy here. Now we're going to go up the inside. Do we go for a Sen? We're going to try and slow it down. We get ourselves up into P1. He's going to undercut us there and go back up the inside. And this is what VR is all about. Stuff like this in go-karts. It's absolutely amazing. Really fun. And I have to say, the smile on my face when this was going on was massive. And that is what VR racing is about. So yeah, if you haven't got a VR headset yet and you can cope with it, some people do get motion sickness, but races like this are made for VR. It's absolutely brilliant. So we're going to go back up the inside here. Can we go for a move? We're up on the inside. Is he going to go for that undercut again on the inside? He is. He's going to get himself back up into the lead. So some switching of lead going on here from P1 to P2 to P1 to P2. It's brilliant stuff. And we've got quite a nice gap to P3 actually, so we can afford to do this. And we're not actually losing too much. We're losing a bit of time, but it's not enough to worry about. As you can see, going through that right-hand corner in 5th gear, again, you can only just see the gears below the delta on the timing. And that is quite annoying actually when you're in VR with this go-kart, because you don't really have a screen on the actual go-kart to tell you what gear you're in. So you're kind of just doing it by a noise. You're listening to the downshifts by reference rather than actually having something on your dash to see what gear you're in. So you always got to remember when you're in these go-karts what gear you're actually in, because if you forget, you can downshift too much. So bear that in mind with the go-karts. But hopefully we get another one of these races in the future, because I'll definitely be doing more of it in VR because it's so much fun. Going again here, you can see getting very, very close to P1 in the braking, trying to see if we can get ourselves able to go for a move somewhere. So picking up the slipstream, obviously in go-kart, slipstream is very, very strong, pretty much like real life. Go-kart slipstream is quite exaggerated. So you can see onto the inside here, trying to get on that power in 3rd gear, and now into this right-hand corner, trying to do it flat almost in 5th gear, but you kind of sometimes just give it a little lift just for safety. But I have got a nice toe from P1. Can we brake really late there to the Italian driver, going very tight to the apex? Can't really get it on the power early enough, but now we've got a good slipstream all the way up this straight now into the final corner. This is a possible overtaking opportunity coming up as I'm picking up that toe, gaining speed. And now we're going to go very close to the inside, trying to hold the close to the white line as possible without hitting the curbs. The curbs are a little bit lethal on this track in go-karts, well, in this game in general with go-karts, as we go over with the fastest lap of the race there. And now trying to go tight to the corner, getting on that power nice, and then you can actually see the little bit of lean that I'm doing with the VR headset because I'm so immersed into that corner. And now we're going up the inside. Can we manage to make this stick? Try and take a nice narrow line, then get on that throttle, and we've managed to get that move done. But he is on our outside there, but we did get a better exit, and that is back up into P1 in this race. So what a little battle this has been so far. And this is what I was saying, races like this in VR are truly amazing. I don't think you can get a better experience on PlayStation, and I mean that out of anything, than stuff like this, because it's so lifelike when you're in the moment. You kind of forget that you're in a game when you're having this kind of situation going on. But you can see we're going to go a little bit defensive into this final corner, and then just try and get on that throttle to try and get that exit speed. You've got to be careful it doesn't start sliding, but that counter steer assist will actually help you in the go-karts on that corner there. And he's going to go up the inside here. Is he going to go for a ascent up the inside? No, he's going to stay on the normal line. I go a little bit wide there, and then try and get on the throttle, and a massive snap and bang into the wall there. And unfortunately for us, you can see just how bad these curbs are. Look at the instant spin you get off them. But yeah, that was a mistake by myself. Put the throttle down too much, and unfortunately we end up in P3 by the end of the race. We managed to get ourselves a few positions up before the end, caught a couple of the cars up in front of us, and went over the line in P3. So yeah, bit annoying that we didn't hold on to that race right to the end. But we decided to go again, and you can see there P4 in this race is the same driver that just beat us. So we're going to go for some revenge and see if we can get a good start again. So standing start, false start check on, straight away onto the radar, and just praying into turn 1 that we're not going to get wiped out. So you can see straight away brake on that wide line there, losing the position to P1, but managing to go round the outside and carry a bit more speed on that wider line and get myself pretty much back up to P1 there. You can see we're side by side still, but I've managed to hold that inside now. So I've just got to get it slowed down, then onto the throttle, and then pull away from this corner, which we've done there, and we're away in the lead of the race. So Now it's just about holding on and hoping that they stay behind and just trying to concentrate. Now when you get in a rhythm in VR, I have to say it's a really, really weird feeling. You just start hooking up the corners, you start hitting every apex, and it just feels so good, especially in this go-kart, because you've got such good vision out of it. As you can see there, skipping to lap 5, and we go over the line with the fastest lap, and we've managed to build that gap up. Even though they've got the slipstream behind us, you can see them on the radar. They are there. We've got 3 go-karts right behind us in that slipstream, and they are pushing me all the way here. But they're not getting close enough, because we're really driving well at the moment in this combination. You can see through here, again, getting it up to the apex, onto the throttle, letting it drift over, and then over to the left-hand side of the track, just skimming the curve on the right-hand side, and it all just flows. Absolutely amazing when you're in the zone in this VR, and I have to say it's an experience. I need to do more of this. I really do need to do more of this VR racing. I think it's maybe something that we can try and do every single week as a video. Just pick a combination to do in VR and then maybe do a VR video on a Sunday. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Also, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video so far. So yeah, that could be an entertaining way of doing a Sunday video, just a VR video every single Sunday. Like I say, let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea. Let me know what you think about this racing that we're having so far as we go over the line there. And again, we kept it consistent all the way through this race. And you can see on the bottom right hand corner, the radar there, he's still right up behind us, the same driver that we had the race with before. And now it's just a case of trying to hold on and not make a mistake. I was praying that I would not make a mistake on this final lap, because I really wanted to get the win back after the mistake that I made on that previous race. So going through here onto that throttle, keeping it smooth, keeping the gap around 3 tenths. He has got that slipstream, so he is gaining every time we're on the throttle, and in any sort of power zone where it's flat out, he's going to gain in that toe all the way. So yeah, it's just about getting the braking points right. Again, hooking that up nicely, up close to the curb, onto the throttle, and again, not the best exit off that corner, but it was good enough to keep that gap a couple of attempts behind us. And now we're going into the final corner, and it looks like I'm going to be able to get the win back after another pretty decent race. It's obviously in VR, it's just racing on your own here, but he was right behind us, and I could see him in that radar all the way through to the end, so it was quite intense. And we go over to the checker flag there and take the win. Another decent race with that driver that we had a race with before. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, smash that like button. I'll be back with more videos in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone.